Hi, my name is Ginger Broderick, and I'm the host of the GingerNY TV show, and we are live in New York City. It is Friday, November 30th, and this is our last date here at our West 59th Street location. We're going to be upgrading to HD, and we are going to be going over to our sister station, the Firehouse. We have an international singer here today. She's a long way from home, Johannesburg, South Africa. What do you think of that? And I had an opportunity to meet her at a Swiss Chris book signing party. Her name is Vaindirlis, and I want you to welcome her and stick around because she's going to be singing a few songs and you don't want to miss her voice. Wow. Thank you so much for coming in, Christine.
Thank you for having me.
Wow, so exciting, so beautiful. You're a beautiful South African woman. And not only that, you have a great voice too. You're a professionally trained opera singer. Wow. So tell us a little bit about your life. You know, you've gone to different continents. I mean, I just moved from the Midwest and had a difficult time just moving a different location here to the United States. But you started in South Africa and then went to Italy and then to Boston and in New York City.
Yeah.
Actually, and you're only 30 years old?
29.
29, okay.
There were a few other stops in between, but
okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about, what made you decide to move from South Africa?
Well, I always wanted to study music, and I wanted to be a rock star when I was young.
Yeah, well, you look like one, that's for sure.
But, you know, in Europe, they don't have contemporary music schools. So, you know, I said to my parents that I wanted to go and study Italian. So when I went to Italy, I got into a conservatory. They gave me a scholarship and did all that. And then I always wanted to come to the States, you know, to go to Berkeley, and because it seemed like the school to go to, you know.
Berkeley School of Music.
Yeah.
Berkeley College of Music in Boston.
And then, you know, I started working. I was working at IBM, and there was this guy. He was like the most annoying person ever. And one day he was like, "So you're going to sit behind the desk for the rest of your life? I thought you said you were going to be a musician or something." Oh, wow. And that really, you know, hit the spot. And I started doing research, and I saw that they were holding auditions. So I auditioned for them, and they gave me a scholarship. And long story short, came to the States.
Good for you. That's a big step. Did you know English before you came here?
Well, yeah, we speak English in South Africa.
Okay,
so.
I wasn't sure.
And actually, I was born in England, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. You have a beautiful, beautiful accent.
Thank you.
And in addition to you being a singer, you're also a writer, I understand.
Right.
Composer, producer, you do everything.
Yeah.
You know Final Cut Pro too. That's impressive. That's what we were talking about when we first met. You know, all our different issues with Final Cut Pro, and thank you very much for your help on that because it's been a challenge of a software for me to do. Yeah. What inspires you to write?
I think life in general. You know, things that happen, things that make you reflect. You know.
Because your songs are more upbeat too. You know, is that a lot from your heritage, or?
It's that, and I think I have a lot of energy, so I put it out in music.
Yes, well, you performed at Blue Note Jazz Club recently for the Sunday brunch.
Yes,
well, that's exciting.
Right.
That's a lot of talent to be able to cover a venue like that. It's not just even late night; it's like a main venue. You know, so a lot of tourists and such. So you're going to be singing one of your songs, "Dance Mama," I believe, that you performed there. So be sure to hang around. You don't want to miss her singing. So what happened? What's the most challenging thing that you've experienced, like in your life or as a singer, performing artist? I would think that it would be very difficult to, you know, be in the performing arts, especially in this state of economy.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most difficult, the challenge that I've had is every place that I've moved to, it's always a new beginning. So every time you're starting from the beginning, meeting new people, making new contacts, you know. And to be honest with you, like, I believe that the music industry is the first to be impacted, you know, when there's some economic dysfunction, let's put it that way.
Yes, over the Thanksgiving holiday, I watched a biography of David Geffen, and it was amazing to listen to him and the different steps that he took in his life and how he made himself a billionaire. But it would be so hard to do that in today's economy. I mean, the music industry's changed, and you know, anything in business has changed too.
Right. And back in the day, you know, you would sell CDs and make money through CD sales. Now, you know, you sell something on iTunes. People can choose what song they want. So before you would, you know, get an album and they would have to have all the songs on an album. Now they choose, and then from that everybody gets a percentage, and it, you know, and there's so many free downloads that it's just it's really difficult to make money through music sales.
So you really have to be out performing, really,
well,
I would say?
performing, yeah, and other avenues, you know, writing music for film or TV or that, you know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. Let's see, what's the most important goal that you have for yourself right now? Do you have any goals, like 1-year goals, 5-year goals, 3-year goals?
Well, you know.
Rock star, you're almost there.
Yeah. I think like every normal person, you know, I just want to be able to, you know, have a comfortable life and go on vacation every now and then, you know, and do all that kind of stuff like a normal person. But I think musically, I just want to make a difference in people's lives. You know, I want people to come to my show and then go home smiling. And say, hey, you know what, we came and we feel much better than, you know, what we came in.
And you have an upcoming show just next week, right?
Next week,
Tell
December
us about
5th.
It. Wednesday, December 5th,
Shapeshifter Lab, yes.
In Brooklyn?
Yes.
That's great.
And
tell us about that.
So it's with a smaller band. Let's say we're a 6-piece, but and it's all original music, and we're performing at 9:15, I believe. Yeah, and it's in Brooklyn. It's on the R train. For people in Manhattan, try and make the trip out.
You know, I have done that trip. I got a little lost, but I found my way.
It's not too bad,
no,
right?
it's not bad at all.
Our train to Union,
yes.
and it's right
around the corner. Yeah, right, and then on the left. No, well, I plan to be there. So
great.
Better be there. Ginger New York is on the beat. I love live music venues, and so it's really I enjoy meeting you.
Right, and it's a great venue. You know, it's been open just under a year, and it's Matthew Garrison's venue, who's a bass player as well. So, and they're doing an amazing job. Every time I go, you know, it's just
a nice lineup of guests.
Yeah. But also, you know, you see the club growing, and it's amazing.
Okay,
yeah.
That's wonderful, because a lot of clubs here in New York City, you have to have a following.
Yeah.
You know, they want to bring in, you know, 50 to 100 people minimum,
right.
You know, in order for you to get a booking. So I would say that, you know, it's a great place for people to launch off and develop the following, because that, you know, is costly and time-consuming in itself. What do you do in your spare time besides singing and writing, composing, producing, Final Cut Pro extraordinaire?
Well, what I like to do, I love nature. So being in New York, there isn't really that much, you know. So, but I love going to the park, Prospect Park. I'm from Brooklyn, so Prospect Park is amazing. I mean, Central Park is great. Don't hate me for saying this, but it's very man-made.
Oh, okay.
And the same architect actually designed both parks.
Oh, interesting.
But Prospect Park is just a little bit more wild, you know, and it's amazing. You just go and you think you're in another world, you know. So that's I really love going to the park.
Do you could do a lot of walking there, or you know, jogging?
I walk a little bit of jogging, let's say, running, whatever.
How do you keep yourself in shape? Because, you know.
That's it. Bike sometimes,
you
know.
Good. Yeah, that's good. Do you do any yoga?
No, I hate yoga.
Do you?
Yeah, my mind just keeps on working. I can't keep still.
So you need something that's a little bit more active than
I like stuff like sports, you know. I'm not a very inside person.
Okay,
so,
very good.
Yeah.
And is there any kind of favorite sport that you have, you know, that maybe as a spectator? Baseball, football?
Well, I love swimming.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I do too.
Yeah,
that's great.
Swimming, tennis.
Yeah, that's great. Do you feel that New York City, does it feel like home to you?
It does, because I think, like, for me, like, wherever I've lived, my home is the people. So in New York, you know, it's a very interesting city, because you meet people from all over the world, and everybody has a different culture.
Yes.
And somehow we all managed to get along.
Isn't that really interesting? Yeah.
Yeah.
When I first moved here, like 30 years ago, I lived in Queens, and I had such a difficult time keeping up with people's fast pace of talking.
Right.
I mean, I would go home and sleep for 2 or 3 hours. Did you have that kind of impact when you were here? You just blended right in?
No, I blended right in.
Because I think it's difficult as an adult to come to New York City. But you've lived in different cities, and
yeah, I don't know. Maybe I learned to adapt, you know. And,
sure. Where I never had that experience. I went from small town to big city, so it was a little more of an adjustment. But I've stayed here, you know, and I enjoy it. You know,
no, and the thing is, you know, like you find out that everybody has the same problems, the same issues, you know, the same fears in life, and the same things that make them laugh. So at the end of the day, you know, it's home.
Yeah, that's
like
great.
There's an old song by what was his name? Oh, I'm gonna date myself. Never mind. Anyway, he had a song, wherever I lay my hat, that's my home.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. Paul
Simon?
No.
I'm dating myself.
Okay, never mind. Anyway, it was back in the 80s.
How long have you lived here in New York City?
New York I'm going on to my 9th year.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah.
It goes by. I just thought I'd be here for about 2 years after college, and I've stayed here, you know, for decades.
Yeah.
Were you impacted by Hurricane Sandy at all?
Personally, no.
Good.
But, you know, I did want to take a trip into the city, you know, because obviously, you know, not having any subways, the only way I could see something was walking over the Brooklyn Bridge.
Mm-hmm. You weren't without power or anything for
no,
a few days?
I was very blessed. Nothing like that happened. But the day after, I walked over the Brooklyn Bridge and went into the Village, and it was really interesting to see. It was actually frightening to see everything closed.
Yeah.
Like all the clubs, Blue Note, and everything, because we were actually we were actually supposed to have a gig on Halloween, and that got canceled.
That's right.
And yeah, so everything was closed, all the restaurants, and it was so interesting to talk to people, you know, to see what you know, the businesses, what they were going through, and you know, they had to pay for cabs to, you know, to bring their food in, and they didn't have power, and they would be making like coffee on, you know, with butane gas. And that was really
I put my contacts in by flashlight. I don't know how I made that
impacted, right?
Yeah, I was without electricity for 4 days, and it was really interesting walking around at night. I was working here for a while because we had electricity after a few days, but when I went home it was just pitch black. That I used my flashlight to walk down the block.
And the other part was that, you know, the whole of, you know, the lower Manhattan, you know, up to 34th Street was in darkness, and then you go to Times Square and they have the lights on. I mean, seriously, it was like people weren't, you know, computing what was going on. It was just like two different realities, two different worlds, not to mention, you know, what was going on in the Rockaways and all the other areas.
I just saw some photos from the Jersey Shore, and I was like, my goodness, if you think you have a bad day, think about the whole beach. You know, sand in your house and window. Oh my God, it's unbelievable, unbelievable. But I'm glad you're okay.
Yeah. Can't complain.
You have a keyboardist over there, ATN.
Who's waiting.
Very good. We'll be up in a minute. I just, you know, trying to chat with her a little bit. I don't get to get very much time with her, so I want to talk to her as much as I can. Tell us about any future projects that you have.
Yeah, well, working on, you know, just new songs, and you know, you're right, maybe 30, 40, and maybe like 5 are good for an album. So it takes a while. So
do you put your favorite ones then on your album?
Yeah.
Or do you just, or are there some that you're undecided about and just do it as a wild card?
No. It's very well planned.
Well, I think you're very organized. I couldn't believe it, all of our pre-planning for today's show. I mean, you were very, very, very thorough.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, really great. So I want to make sure that we hear some of your singing as much as we can, so at least 2 to 3 songs today if we have enough time.
Definitely.
Tell us about the songs that you're going to be singing today.
So the first one is called Tell Me, and as I said, I write music through life experience. So I was working at a studio in New York, and I had this horrible boss. He was just so rude, like from the morning, you know, he would come in grumpy, you know, throughout the day, you know, grumpy. He was just like the worst person, and he would treat everyone like...
Can you imagine being married to him? Oh my, yeah.
Yes. Well,
It's your ex-husband, right?
no. So yeah, that's why I wrote the song because you know I think no matter what happens, you know, you always have to respect people. I mean, someone can have a bad day.
Right.
Everybody has a bad day.
Right.
But you know, you just have to, you know, just make a little bit of effort. That's what I felt. So I came up with the song.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
And then another one, the next one?
And then the next one is Dance Mama, which is the title track of my album.
Okay.
Which you can get from my website, christinemusic.com.
Very good. Very good.
Little plug there.
Yeah, I was going to ask that a little bit later, but you know, we'll probably come back to that though.
Yeah. So anyway, so it's a title track of my album, Dance Mama, and it just talks about the joy that I have because I'm one of those people who lives life trusting in God, you know, and I always feel the joy that, you know, no matter what happens in life, whether I'm sad, I know He's always taking care of me.
Yeah.
So I wrote the song Dance Mama.
Very good.
And the third one is called Beyond the Game, which I wrote after the World Cup in South Africa.
Oh, wow.
And it was because, you know, FIFA came in, they did this whole production, you know, they did a great job, you know, but then when they left, nothing had changed for the country, you know.
Oh, interesting.
The same problems were there, you know, there was still poverty, there was still, you know, so I wrote the song, Beyond the Game.
Well, please take over and step to the mic when you're ready, and I'd love to hear. So welcome, everyone. You're in for a special treat. She's a opera-trained singer. Oh, my goodness.
It was a long time ago.
But, yeah.
Huh? No, not opera today. Not opera today. Okay.
My pleasure.
Yes. Etienne Stadwick.
I got hot chocolate. What more can I ask for, you know? Try one?
Yeah, let's
joining in. We're going to be at our sister station, the Firehouse, next week, for the next few weeks, actually. And I want to thank my crew, Josie-Ann Hurd, Angel Rose, Beverly Fields. We got Andrew Richter on the floor for photography. So check out my Facebook page for some exciting photos that are going to be coming up about today. So thank you, Etienne. Thank you, Christine. How long have the two of you known each other? Have you been performing a long time? Forever?
4 years, maybe?
4 years?
Yeah, something like that.
Great. Well, you're great together.
But I've known you for longer than that. You just don't remember.
You know, the brain goes after 30. So please take over and finish out this. Thank you very much for your time coming in today. It was a lot of fun. Thank you.